I believe at this point I'll probably let this go through here. Yes, so we do, and I should commit to a farm down here. Now, you can see you pretty much can't farm down these Pokemon anymore because they're not switch locked for 60 seconds, so that takes away an aspect of the game. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber, like a zip a day, thank you for the support. In today's video, we're taking a look at some battles featuring the new 30-second switch timer. And yes, it is a bit interesting to say the least. Definitely caught me off guard in the first match. I wasn't actually aware that this was a thing. When the opponent was switching out so quickly, I was like, what the heck is going on here? But basically, it's really going to shake up how these battles go down. I don't think this is a permanent thing, but you know, with Niantic, basically the way they roll things out is they'll put out this 30-second timer thing as like an April Fool's event type thing. I think it's supposed to go until April 4th. And basically, if it works, if people like it, they'll make it permanent. They'll act like it was their idea the whole time. And if it's a bust and people hate it, they'll say, oh, April Fools, you know, it was just a joke. We were never going to do this anyway. So in this video, we are taking a look at one of my favorite teams to use in the Great League. This is the team I used last season to climb up over 3,500 elo on the leaderboard push. And that consists of a Galvantula lead with Defense Deoxys, Safe Switch, and Meganium in the back. Now, a lot of people might not have access to Deoxys. I think some suitable replacements could be Galarian Stunfisk. Of course, that'll make your team even better against the Alolan Marowak and provide some better coverage for the Flyers as well. I think other substitutes include Medicham, Sableye, Toxicroak. There are a decent amount of substitutions. Obviously, Deoxys is very unique in its moveset, but there are suitable replacements as well. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please consider leaving a like. It really helps the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. Alright, so let's jump into the first battle right here, seeing AnthonySmithJr in match number 1. We are going to be leading one of my favorite leads for the Great League, that is Galvantula. And we're being met by a Swampert here, so this is a pretty difficult lead for Galvantula. Going to lose this in pretty much just about every scenario. So what I tend to do is shield the first Hydro Cannon, go for the lunge, and they're going to have to go for a Sludge Wave after the lunge lowers the attack to KO in the one shield. So they can't just go straight Hydro Cannon here, or else I will get to another lunge. They actually choose to swap out into Registeel instead though. So I'm going to throw a Discharge here before swapping out into my Deoxys. Main reason for this was because I didn't really remember how this matchup went with Deoxys, but I do believe it's a pretty good matchup overall for Deoxys. So getting that damage off with Discharge means I probably won't have to shield anything here. But look at how quick this switch timer is. Marowak is already in. And thankfully for us, I am going to throw this Rock Slide here. Now, Marowak has an incredible matchup here. It is running Hex against my Deoxys. They could have came in with Swampert or the Marowak, but I think because their Marowak's actually running Hex instead of Fire Spin, they want to save the Swampert for the Galvantula. So I decided to let the Deoxys go down there. And I know that my Galvantula actually has a decent matchup against Marowak here because it is running Hex. And my Meganium also has a pretty decent matchup. So I'm going to choose to let this go down here and rely on Meganium to take out all 3 Pokemon for the reason that this Marowak has no shields. I'm going to beat it to the Frenzy Plant. I'm not going to take damage because it's doing Hex, not Fire Spin. And then Swampert and Registeel, I could beat them both with Meganium because I got the Frenzy Plant for the Swampert. I have the Earthquake for the Registeel, and I still have a shield for that potential Sludge Wave. Now the opponent swaps out here with energy for a Sludge Wave, so what you want to ensure is that you have enough energy for 2 Frenzy Plants before throwing here. So I'm going to throw the first Frenzy Plant. In case this does KO, you want to have the second one ready because we're pretty much getting into Hydro Cannon range here. So I do farm down. Now the Swampert's going to win CMP tie, so we have to shield this up, but I did click the Frenzy Plant already, so it should be CMP, and we should be able to get off this second move before the Swampert does. Frenzy Plant, of course, is going to be enough to knock out the Swampert here, and we're going to take this match on the strength of Meganium in the back, carrying the team there, taking out all 3 of the opponent's Pokemon. So off to a 1-0 start here, jumping into battle number 2 against Bully 362. So we're leading Galvantula this time into Azumarill. Love to see it. It's a great lead, of course, but you do pretty much have to burn a shield here. So let's see if the opponent chooses to swap out. You can see I'm actually over farming in case they do. Now that they're staying in, I decide to throw the Discharge here. And the opponent is going to choose to let that go. Now they do survive that, which means they're going to get off 1 move here. And of course, this does turn in Galvantula. So I'm going to choose to burn a shield here. It is a play rough. And now look to farm down. We see a bit of lag here, but fortunately we are able to commit to the farm down. We're down a shield, we have a bunch of energy here, and they come with Whiscash. Now remember, when they stay in the lead match with Azumarill, means they likely have something weak to Galvantula in the back. So it could be something like a Skarmory. I decided to swap out into my Deoxys here, save the Galvantula for that Pokemon in the back that may also be weak to it. And the opponent is looking to stay in here. They do have a shield advantage. Because I threw that lunge here, this is actually a better matchup for Deoxys than it typically is. Deoxys will lose this match, but we got some nice chip damage, and we did lower the attack of the Whiscash. Opponent comes in with a Skarmory, so there is the second Pokemon in the back. That is in fact weak to Galvantula, and we are running Thunderbolt on this Deoxys, so this is going to be doing a lot of damage here. Does get the first shield, and now the opponent pretty much needs to go for Revert to knock us out, so Sky Attack won't be enough to KO Deoxys here, which means we will get to the second Thunderbolt, which is likely to get the final shield here from the Deoxys. At this point, you just want to pretty much let your Deoxys go down here, have the Galvantula aligned onto the Skarmory, and the Meganium onto the Whiscash. Now look at this. I completely forgot that I had enough energy for discharge. So for that reason, I'm actually not clicking it here, which means that this Skarmory is going to get off the Sky Attack before I realize. And because of that, I'm forced to burn a shield here. Now, after I shield this, the opponent is very likely going to swap out, knowing that I didn't click the discharge, or else they would have lost CMP tie, try to catch this onto their Whiscash. So for that reason, I'm actually switching out into Meganium. If they for some reason stay with Skarmory, then of course I'm going to get farmed down here, but there's almost no reason they will. So you see they do swap out into Whiscash here. I catch the Mud Bomb onto my Meganium, so I prevent that damage from landing on the Galvantula, and I also preserve that discharge for the Skarmory in the back. So even if this Skarmory was able to farm me down here, which they're not going to be able to because Earthquake from this range is going to be almost enough to KO, I had the discharge ready. I will win CMP this time by not forgetting to click it and take this game. But you can see Meganium there finishes off the match. Meganium Skarmory counter confirmed. MagnetMayhem here in battle number 3. So let's jump into this. We got Galvantula into Alolan Ninetales, and this Ninetales is actually running Charm. This is a horrible lead for Galvantula. So what I'm going to look to do here is throw the discharge, knowing I will beat it to the first move since it is running Charm, and then immediately swap out into my Deoxys, which is pretty much my only counter for this Ninetales. However, because it is running Charm, Meganium has a decent match against it. Still not great, but better than Powder Snow, of course. And you love to see the opponent throw the energy there onto the Deoxys, especially when they have something that hard counters it like Umbreon in the back. They definitely could have saved that energy, but that's a play that I often do too. I need an extra second to think, so I throw the move to decide what I'm going to do next. The most elite players will always switch out immediately. They just know what they're doing. We're not quite at that level yet, so we're still learning, but that's something that is definitely a technique that they use. So in this situation, I'm going to burn a shield, build up for 2 lunges pretty much, throw this first one here, and hope that I have a second move ready for that Ninetales when it comes in. You can see because it's dry in energy, I'm actually able to get this discharge because it threw the energy at the Deoxys. So this is going to force the final shield here, and I swap out into Meganium. Opponent has an Azumarill in the back, so this is not over yet because they still do have that Ninetales, and I'm going to have to do an Ice Beam here most likely. I'm going to throw the Frenzy Plant. I don't think that Ninetales is quite at the Powder Snow yet, so I could decide to shield its Ice Beam or let it go. I'm going to choose to shield it up just because Charm does add up quite a bit, and look to farm down completely here. You can see they swap out. Because they don't have energy yet, I'm going to be able to throw this Frenzy Plant, which will knock out the Ninetales, and then the Azumarill comes back in. We're going to outpace it, and we are going to be able to take that game off to a 3-0 start here. Sakicell in match number 4. See, the swaps are pretty crazy so far with the 30-second timer. We got a Mew lead here, and typically when I see Mew in the lead, I think it's going to be Asian Milkman line, Skarmory, Scrappy in the back. For that reason, I want to keep this Galvantula alive, and I know I can win in just about every even shield situation here against Mew. So I'm going to shield up the first one just in case it is a Flame Charge. It's only a Surf, but we should be able to outpace it. Now normally, what these Mews like to do in this matchup actually is get to the 2 shields and then swap out into their Skarmory to catch the final move. So we have to keep that in the back of our minds here. So I'm going to let this move come through here, expecting only a Surf. And now they are going to outpace us, I believe, to the next move. Yes, they are. It's another Surf. I'm going to shield this, and I'm totally expecting them to swap out at this point once I get to the next move. So because Mew's actually now in discharge range, or lunge, doesn't matter, I'm going to throw discharge knowing that they're likely going to come in with something that probably resists lunge. So I'm going to throw the discharge here expecting the Skarmory. It is in fact the Skarmory. If I threw lunge, I'd lower the attack, but it wouldn't be doing anywhere near as much damage. Discharge does a lot, and they actually got an air slash through, which knocked me out, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's okay. I come in with Deoxys here, and because they're so low in health, they can't actually afford to get to the Brave Bird, so they're going to throw the Sky Attack. And now I'm going to actually look to farm down completely, knowing that they're very unlikely to get to the next move. So now I have a bunch of energy stored. Mew is dry in energy, and instead of Scrafty, it's actually an Umbreon in the back. So this is a bit trickier for us for this specific Deoxys matchup. Of course, they couldn't come with Mew because I had so much energy I wouldn't knock it out. They come with Umbreon to pretty much tank all this energy we have here. We do get into the yellow. I'm going to let the Deoxys go down here. It's pretty much useless against the Mew anyways, and come in with Meganium. Now I know Meganium has a great matchup here against Mew. Tank pretty much any move the Mew throws, because if it has Surf, it's not really Flame Charge Surf. It's going to be Wild Charge Surf most likely. We could tank that, farm down completely here, and we need to get to, I believe, 2 Frenzy Plants at this point to knock out Umbreon. 1 won't be enough. So it's pretty much a race at this point. First Frenzy Plant comes through. This Umbreon also needs 2 Foul Plays in order to win. Even if they did get to back here, this should be CNP tie. We did get to our Frenzy Plant, and as a result, we're going to be able to take this game, and we're off to a 4-0 start here with the new 30-second switch timer for this set. So let's jump into battle number 5 right here. We got AdamuzuSensei, and we're going to be leading our Galvantula, trusty Galvantula, into an Azumarill. So a very positive lead here to close out the set, and the opponent swaps out into their own Galvantula. Now notice, I don't have a particular answer for Galvantula, so my best play here is to stay in knowing I do have an energy lead, and this should be winnable. Now I also get in the extra Volt Switch there, so this is huge for us. We should be ahead by maybe 2 Volt Switches now at this point. So we do shield up the lunge, and I'm going to throw another lunge here, actually clicking and denying the extra Volt Switch from the opponent. So we're ahead quite a bit on energy here. They let that one go through. At this point, I get another Volt Switch in, so I should be ahead by probably a whole lunge at this point. Let that go through here. Able to farm down, they swap out into Azumarill. Now I am debuffed, so there is an argument to be made that the opponent will let this go through, but they do decide to shield. Now I'm going to come in with the Meganium here, and at this point, we get to go for Frenzy Plant. Now this won't KO, so we're likely going to get hit by an Ice Beam here, which is totally fine. I believe at this point I'll probably let this go through here. Yes, so we do, and I should commit to a farm down here. Now you can see you pretty much can't farm down these Pokemon anymore because they're not switch locked for 60 seconds. So that takes away an aspect of the game you see. So I go for the Frenzy Plant on the Mandibuzz. I don't really have an answer for this coming with Deoxys here. Galvantula is a good answer, but it's very low in health. So I'm actually going to come with Deoxys here, take this Shadow Ball, which does a lot of damage there, about 50%, and I'm going to get off this Rock Slide here. Now, because the switch timer is 30 seconds, they have a lot of opportunities to try and catch the next move here. I could choose to let this go through, but I'm actually going to shield it up, which might have been a mistake. It's only an Aerial Ace, but I do swap out to Meganium, expect this Mandibuzz to be in giant energy, and I'm able to outpace it to the Frenzy Plant. They did not sack a Pokemon. They had 2 options there. Maybe they were lost in the count, but that's very beneficial for us. Azumarill comes back in. I'm going to look to farm down. They try to sack the Galvantula at this point. Wasn't at the Frenzy Plant yet. Now I am. This Frenzy Plant is going to come through, knock out the Azumarill here, and we're going to manage to go a perfect 5-0 in this first set with the new 30-second switch timer. Very fun battles, very quick, very exciting, and pretty fun overall. So those were the battles with the 30-second switch timer. You can see there are a couple of things in the game that are affected as a result of this. Probably the biggest thing is the inability to completely farm down a Pokemon that is switch locked. They can now switch out a lot faster, which does prevent you from getting free energy a lot of times. Definitely will be some key things to adapt to with this new strategy. Not sure if this is something they're going to keep permanently or if it's just for this April Fool's event. However, it is a lot of fun and it makes for some pretty exciting moments in PvP. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.